Hello and welcome to our 2018 Women's Basketball NJCAA Region 4 Championship Game Preview. I'm Prairie State College Coordinator of Sports Information Chris Kuchta, and today I'm pleased to be joined by two-time Illinois Skyway Collegiate Conference Coach of the Year and 2013 Region 4 Coach of the Year, Jeff Boyd. Coach, thank you for being here.
You're welcome, Chris.
Now, if you haven't heard already, the Pioneers knocked off Illinois Valley 65-59 in the Region 4 semifinal Saturday night. That win puts PSC in the region title game for the first time since 2013. And the Pioneers will now take on perennial region power Kankakee this coming Saturday at Waubonsie Community College at a 2:30 p.m. tip-off. Coach, first of all, congratulations on the win.
Thank you.
A long time coming back. We're a little overdue getting back there, so great to see us back in the title game.
Appreciate it, Chris. Thanks for the name.
This is going to be Prairie State's second meeting with Kankakee this year. We lost them 68-54 on November 28th. But looking back at how long ago that game was, does it even matter how much the outcome of that game, considering the fact that your team has improved so much since then? And it's almost like, second semester, conference schedule, all that. It's almost like a different season almost at this point.
Right. Well, it matters. It matters a lot, Chris, because we actually played this team, and just having contact with this team, the players know, what they need to do versus the team individually. I know we lost to them by 14, but it was a momentum changers in that game here and there, where we could have not made a mistake here, a turnover here. The momentum changer of that game was a couple of turnovers, and they took off from there. I did have a few freshmen on my team that just started off not playing well, but as the season went along, they made their adjustments.
Now, Kankakee's basically been the gold standard in the region as far as women's basketball is concerned. How significant would it be to knock them off, especially in a game of this magnitude, region title game?
Well, that'd be huge. And Kankakee, they are one of those the teams. They have that advantage of recruiting, and they have a little bit more to offer than a lot of other teams in our region, and with the recruiting and everything like that. And it would be very significant for the simple fact that we played them before. The magnitude of this game, and it's for the region, and is also for going into to take us into the national tournament. So it's pretty huge. It's a pretty big game.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Now, without getting into too many X's and O's, what's it going to take to knock off the Cavaliers Saturday night?
The know-how. We talk about that. We talk about that in practice every day. Knowing what you're supposed to do. I know both teams are going to go out there and give that effort to win a game, but it's that effort plus knowing what to do out there. And a little blood, sweat, and tears is going to be part of it too, because they're going to really be fighting for it.
Sure, absolutely. Now, what were some of your team goals that you and your coaches came up with at the beginning of the year? I'm sure, obviously, that playing in the region title game was one of those goals. But what were some of your kind of stepping stone goals throughout the year?
Well, first of all, Chris, we wanted to try to make sure that we won at least 80% of the first half of that season. Win 80% of those games, and then we were looking to win our conference. We came pretty close to it, one game deciding if we were going to win or not. But those were two goals. The third one was to do well in the region, and so far we've done that. And I did tell the ladies on the team that when we lost to Kankakee that year, that hey, you're going to wind up seeing that team again, and here we are in the championship game.
Absolutely. Now, this is your third time playing in the region title game. Is there an advantage to having coached in it now? This would be your third, go around as far as coaching in this game.
Yes, it's very. This game was, having played in the region tournament a couple of times. It's kind of important because you get to tell the girls and try to let them know, hey, be comfortable about what you're doing out there, but you still want to play with a certain level of intensity, and you also want to play with a sense of urgency. So because this is a big game, you still want them to you still want to come out victorious, but you want them to be ready to play and not sit back and let things happen.
Mm-hmm. Now, when the season started, did you feel that this particular group had a shot to get to this level in the tournament, with a shot to go to the national tournament?
Well, when on paper, you look at your team and you say, yeah, I got that team. But then after you start playing a few games, reality strikes in and it hits, and then you say, you run into little bumps and bruises, injuries here and there. Maybe it's not, but as those games go along, you're playing in a season. You remember that foundation that you built off of, and then you start seeing those wins, and you start seeing them growing from those things. And then something like this happens. 9 wins out of 10. And then you're right there. So.
Now, as far as your coaching staff this year, you have 2 former players on your staff this year. One's Ryan Edwards, former All-American, the only All-American in women's basketball Prairie State history so far, and Leah Avery, who was a huge contributor. A lot of good teams that you had here, 2 really good teams.
Right.
What does it mean to have 2 former players on your staff who know the system, know exactly what you're running, know how the program's run, and from just a basketball standpoint, know what you're going to be doing, and to have 2 people that can actually pass that knowledge along?
Right. Well, the good thing about this is that there are still 2 young ladies that can relate to the young ladies that I have on the team now, and they've been through it. They've been through it before. Not just being at the national tournament. They fought together, and they can actually tell the girls, they can tell them, hey, this is what you need to do. They've been there before, and they don't just tell them. They can have, they can kind of like feel it, that they know that they've been through these things before, and to have both of them sitting right there on a bench with me, they're just like an extension of me. Sure. They come out of the game, and they have a seat on the bench, and I don't have to say anything. They're talking to them, and I know exactly what they're telling them, the same thing that I taught them. So.
Now, your other assistant, Quincy Jones, has been on your staff for several years. You guys have been together for a long time.
Yes.
How much does it also help to have that continuity there, to have one coach that's consistent? Because Leah and Ryan, they haven't been around that long, right, but Quincy's been there for quite some time. I mean, that continuity, how much does that help?
Well, it helps tremendously. It's not just that he's been been with me that long. I've known Quincy since he's been in 7th grade. Right. We grew up together, right next door to each other. So I'm able to at times walk out of the gym, or if I'm not in practice, I know he's teaching the same thing and telling them the same thing that I would when I'm not there. So the continuity is second to none, 100% when it comes to Coach Jones. He's a head coach playing the assistant coach's role. Yeah.
Right. Now, in terms of your players this year, Alexis Irvin, Deja McBird, they were kind of the 2 marquee players. They seem to kind of fill up the box score more than any other player on your team. But you've also got a tremendous amount of role players who are really good this year. Could you kind of talk about your team in general a little bit, and then the individual players?
Okay. Well, I would like to start with Deja McBird, and the reason I want to start with her is because she's been around the longest because of injury. She had to sit out a whole year, and she stayed with us that whole year. So she knows exactly what I'm looking for on and off the court, and she's able to pass that along to those freshmen and even the sophomores that just came and played along, that played with us. Then we have Embria Gale, our point guard. I really liked her even when I was recruiting out of Ritzoff High School. She's an excellent player. She's a 2-sport athlete, playing soccer. She can run up and down the court, and a very tough player defensively, which I like about her a lot. Another role player is Caitlin Marshall. She comes up huge. She comes up huge as far as with the continuity of the team. She picks up on things well. In a sense, some of the things that she does on the court reminds me of myself when we get the offensive rebound, we get the defensive rebound, and she drops her head and takes off in that lane. I love to see that, and she can run all day. She's one of those players that gives that effort, the twins that we have, Mariah and Mercedes, they came, they helped out big time with us down at the post, in the post position. I know that they're still learning, and they were kind of set back on how things work and everything, but they picked it up, and it showed. They've helped us get to where we are today, and where we are at this point. And with Alexis Irving, she's she's the marquee player on our team.
Sure.
The maturity that she has, the things that she's been through coming from the program that she came from at HF. She's been through it before. The scoring, how she changed from her game from the outside, moving from the inside, moving on to the outside. It was tremendous. The things that she can do on the low post and shoot the basketball. So, and everybody else, that's on the team with the Tiffany Swopes. She's a good role player. She comes in and gives those minutes in when they're needed.
Sure.
And if we get a bucket or two out of her, that's a plus. And defensively, she's a solid player, and she'll will be helping us out a lot next year. So my team with only 7 right now is well-rounded, subbing them in and out. There's no problem, and they worked hard this year, and I'm happy to say that the record has shown, and that the point that we are right now has shown that also.
All right. Well, it's well deserved, Coach. Good luck Saturday.
Okay, I appreciate it, Chris. Thanks for having me.
Not a problem.